I'm Mac D'Alessandro, and I'm running against Stephen Lynch. Because our families deserve real leadership, and our communities deserve a strong advocate for policies that are going to make a real difference in our lives. I want to tell you about the differences between my values and Stephen Lynch's values because they couldn't be more clear. Steve Lynch was the only Democrat in New England, in Massachusetts, the home of Ted Kennedy no less, to vote against health care reform. He didn't have any excuse to side with insurance companies over patients. He didn't have any excuse to vote against the largest health care tax cut for families and small businesses in history. He didn't have any excuse to vote to allow insurance companies to continue to deny coverage to children with pre-existing conditions. He didn't have any excuse to vote to allow insurance companies to continue to discriminate against women by calling things like pregnancy and domestic violence pre-existing conditions. For all those things he didn't have an excuse to do. This isn't the first time that Steve Lynch has sold us out to side with Republicans. He voted for the Iraq War and its continued funding, even as our economy here at home collapsed. He voted for the Stupak Amendment. When he did decide to get involved in the health care reform debate, he got up and voted for the Stupak Amendment, the greatest assault on a woman's right to choose in 30 years. He voted for the Patriot Act and its reauthorization just like George Bush wanted him to. These are big votes, folks. These are folks that each in their own way helped chart the course our country's heading in. And if a Democrat from Massachusetts can't find the spine to vote the right way on these tough issues, how can we expect a Democrat from Nebraska or Arkansas or Indiana or Texas to vote the right way on tough issues?
That's right. That's right. Tell it.
That's why this race matters to us all, because we don't just need more Democrats, we need better Democrats. We need Democrats who are going to consistently stand for progressive values and policies, and that has not been happening because too many Democrats are running scared from the likes of Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck and the Tea Party and their corporate donors. Well, I'm here to tell it like it is. Truth number one, the passage of health care reform was the first step. Now the fight begins, and we need Democrats in Congress who are willing to stand up to the army of health insurance lobbyists who have descended upon Washington, D.C. to do everything they can to water down and weaken those reforms we fought for. Truth number two, we are still fighting 2 wars in the Middle East at a cost of $13 billion a month while we are laying off teachers and shuttering fire stations right here at home. Truth number three, not enough people in Congress, Democrat or Republican, are doing enough to stand up to the dangerous and ridiculous notion that somehow corporations should enjoy the same rights as human beings. This is not what we expected when we woke up on November 5th, 2008, and a Democrat had won the White House, and Democrats controlled both chambers of Congress. And that's why my fight is your fight, because change happens from the bottom up, and it doesn't end with an election. Now, I've believed this my whole life. My mom and dad raised me. Hi, passerby. Come volunteer. My mom and dad raised me to believe that if you see a wrong, right it. If you see an injustice occurring, don't stand on the sidelines. Get in there and fight that injustice. And I've spent my whole career living up to those values. Whether it was in legal services, fighting to secure job training and education programs for low-income families, or in the labor movement, where I fought to protect healthcare workers and property service workers and workers in the public sector and hospital patients and seniors in nursing homes. Now we need leaders in Congress who get it too. As the next congressman for the Massachusetts 9th, I'm always going to side with consumers and families and workers and not insurance companies and banks. I'm going to fight to create good-paying jobs that can't be outsourced and never side with the Gucci loafer lobbyist set. I'm going to fight to ensure that we never, ever sacrifice our future by cutting education and laying off teachers just because times are tough. Because we cannot build a strong economy if we don't give our children the tools they need to succeed. And rest assured, when I'm elected, I am going to fight not just to defend the historic health care reform law, but work to make it better and more affordable for all of our families and small businesses. So the math here is so simple. Democrats enjoy a 77-vote margin in the United States House. But that hardly seems to matter when Democrats in Democratic districts like Stephen Lynch vote like Republicans. 34 Democrats voted against health care reform. 26 Democrats voted against financial regulatory reform. With Democrats, with friends like these, who needs enemies? That's why we're in this fight together. I need your help in this fight. I need you to talk to your friends and your neighbors. I need you to volunteer on my campaign. We've got some staff here with clipboards. Sign up today, right now, to volunteer on this campaign. At the end of this, we've got 5 weeks left today. Thank you for joining this fight, because this isn't just about winning another congressional seat. This is a fight for the soul of the Democratic Party, so that the Democratic Party is one that stands with consumers and workers and communities and